Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Gadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim to Sadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. On the Pre-Shaman, and this week's topic is going to be entitled, Who Wins World War III? Who wins World War III? So let's fix this. Right. The inspiration for the show comes from the fact that, tensions are looming in terms of what we have now in this Cold War II is what it's been coined. You know what I'm saying? Hostilities over there in the Middle East, primarily being stirred up by the state of Israel. As it says in the book of Jeremiah, the 49th chapter, the least of the flock shall draw them out. What does that mean? The least of the flock of the nation of Edom. The nation of Edom today is, they gave themselves the so-called name of white race. You know what I'm saying? Which that's just a play on words. White represents purity. Black obviously means void of light. In fact, there's a word that's called blackening, which means to darken, to despair. If I blacken your integrity, that means I'm bringing shame to it, right? So they put that on the so-called Negroes. Really, the Negroes are the tribe of Judah, Benjamin and Levi, respectively. You have the West Indians that are part of Benjamin, and the Levi are the Haitians. It's a blessing from the Heavenly Father to have melanin and a dark skin complexion. In fact, if you put a person under UV light, you can see that somebody with melanin, their skin looks pretty good, and then somebody with a lack of melanin, their skin looks pretty messed up. You can see early signs of freckles and such. But going back to the point now, the least of the flock are drawing out these nations. What do I mean? The state of Israel is getting has the United States over there involved in the Middle East, which brings other superpowers in. All right, because you have something called PNAC, Project for a New American Century, which was established as a Zionist takeover of the Middle East, because the state of Israel is trying to get hegemony over there in that region. But you'll never know that because the so-called Jews are good at covering their tracks. They like to put other people in the forefront, So the guys, what the mainstream media likes to push is that, it's a war for oil. Complete bullshit. America doesn't need oil. America is the number one exporter of oil, all right? Israel, however, needs oil, all right? Israel's the one that is worrying about whether or not Iran has missiles, because Iran, hypothetically speaking, if Iran did have nuclear missiles, which is no confirmation of that, if Iran did have nuclear missiles, how the fucking America is protected by an ocean on its west and its east. There's no way a missile shot from Iran will get to here before it's taken down, or Iran being completely wiped off the map. However, Iran has missiles that can hit the state of Israel, and that's where the main thing is happening. And it's complex, because in this World War III thing, and these nations fighting to be the New World Order, because the New World Order is not necessarily everybody in agreement, all right? It's likened onto a mafia family where you got different, you have the Lucchese's and you got the Lucchese and what else you got? The Gambinos, all right? They're all doing crimes, right? But sometimes they might work with each other to accomplish a greater crime. That's the same thing with these elite banking families. I want to point out the fact that the elite banking families, for the most part, are all so-called Jews. Most of the billionaires on the planet Earth right now are so-called Jews. Why I keep saying so-called Jews? Because in the Bible they're referred to as the nation of Amalek. They're the chief house of the nation of Edom. The so-called Jew is the one that excels amongst these Edomites. Now that blessing goes back to Genesis, the 27th chapter. All right, that the Most High gave them the blessing that their dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. However, they didn't get blessed with the kingdom. They lost their birthright. So for that, they've had a great hatred and animosity, even before they came out the womb, for the children of Israel, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's how come they design things like situations in the projects, Planned Parenthood, the welfare system, all right, which the welfare system was orchestrated, a think tank to destroy not only the black family, but to take the father out of the household, which then creates a race of degenerates. And that's what you see today. So they do all these types of things to come against the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans here in America, because we are the true nation of Israel, right? So the so-called Jew, as you can see, has always been in a prominent role in power, because pursuant to the book of Job 9:24, it tells us that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Now, when you read Malachi, the 1st chapter and the 4th verse, it tells us that the border of wickedness is Edom. All right? And if you look back in history, read Revelation, the 13th chapter. When it tells you, it speaks about a beast, all right? Empires are likened unto beast, all right? So when you read Revelation, the 13th chapter, and it's talking about it had the head of a lion and the feet of a bear, the beast that it's talking about is the nation of Edom. It started with Alexander the Greek, or Alexander the Creep, as we call him, a warmongering homosexual, you know what I'm saying? That had an early rise in power, which was prophesied in the book of Daniel, the 11th chapter. And he knew that because a priest showed it to him. All right, but Alexander was a so-called Jew. All right, with certain, I personally believe. All right, you don't have to believe it, but I believe that's Adolf. He came back as this guy Adolf Hitler, which was another so-called Jew. If you look at most of these prominent leaders in the world today, they're either so-called Jews or crypto Jews. And I want to use an example: the House of Saud over there in Saudi Arabia. They're not true Ishmaelites. They're not true Arabs, which Arab or Arab just means mixture of Persians, Ishmaelites that's over there in that region, the Syrians and such, okay? But they're not true Ishmaelites. When you do the research on it, and there was a show done by GMS Holland, he goes all into it, it's our show, highlighting the fact that the House of Saud, the Saudi royal family, are crypto Jews, meaning they had the appearance of Ishmaelites. They took on the nationality of Ishmaelites, but they just adopted it. Their true nationality goes back to that was so-called Jews, man. You have the Lin family that look like Chinese, but however, they're crypto Jews, all right? Because what they do is they change their names, man. They change their names and takes on and customs of different nations to the fact they go around stealing nations. They did that with us, all right? The so-called blacks here in America are the true Jews of the Bible. All you have to do is ask yourself, take slavery and go back past the 1600s. You'll see that your lineage, when you was over there in West Africa and different parts of Africa, you fled there from Roman persecution after 70 AD, all right? Now, one might say, but they all look the same. Okay, fine. The so-called Jew here in America, when you go to the Diamond District, you could distinguish him from another so-called white person. Why? Because he's keeping certain tradition that makes him stand out. They wear all black with the hat and the zeets, all right, which are fringes, all right? So you can pinpoint them. It's the same thing with us over there in Africa. We look like them, but they hated us, all right? Because we wasn't condoning ourselves in homosexuality like the Africans do, bestiality, all right, incest, all the unlawful things that they condone, and we weren't worshiping their deities, all right? Now you have some of us that went off in that bullshit, all right, that mingled ourselves amongst the nation and took on their customs, but for the most part, we were keeping our own traditions, all right? Because it's in our spirit, man. Most Jakes don't want to eat alligator and throw doodles at each other, all right? But the Hamites delight in things like that, all right? Certain of them. So they rounded us up, as it says in the book of Joel, all right? And the so-called Jews were a part of that, along with the Ishmaelites, all right? It's called a triangular slave trade. But this was also prophesied in the book of the Bible that the Zidonians, the Greeks, all right? And of course, Ishmael will have a part in bringing us over here in America to fulfill the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and the 68th verse, where it tells us that we will be brought over here in cargo slave ships, all right? Because you don't need ships to go from the land of Israel to Egypt. We could walk there, all right? So that prophecy was fulfilled. But if you look at any single prominent society, the so-called Jew is at the head of it, man. Don't be surprised if Vladimir Putin is a crypto Jew, all right? Because some people speculate that. Doesn't matter. So he's an Edomite as well, So going back to the topic at hand, who will win World War III? And this is not according to opinion, but according to the Bible. When I mention the feet of it is going to be like a bear, it's going to end with Russia. Russia is going to be leading these other nations, all right, unified against what they call an alien invasion, an alien threat, which that alien threat is going to be Yahushai. Yah meaning he, Yahushai meaning deliverer, all right? In the English transliteration, Joshua, all right? Or Jesus, which is just a title, okay? And they're going to label it an alien invasion, pursuant to the book of 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, to come and fight against the Lord when he comes back, all right? Because there is going to be a fight. Now, at the end of that World War III, at the end of that nuclear destruction, after the elites coming out their space shuttles and different underground bunkers to, establish, put the capstone on their new world order, all right, they shall be in straits pursuant to the book of Job. They're going to come right into shackles because Yahweh Shai, we and Yahweh Shai, the 144,000, Lord willing, we have that number, are going to come and shackle them up, all right? So it doesn't matter how you dice it in these different fractions of the elites warring against each other. Well, the Lord said that in the book of Matthew 24. Satan is divided against himself. Therefore, his kingdom shall not stand. All right? And we see in Russia getting put on the stage as the world superpower. Now, we know that America has a #1 military, has a #1 GDP in the world. All right? It's the richest nation in the world. However, all these nations that you see allied with the United States are going to turn their back on it. Great Britain, all its greatest allies, and you already know it has a ton of enemies with bases all over the world. That's going to come to their demise, as it did with every single empire. As every single empire expanded, they forgot about their interior and obviously was overthrown. All right, so that was just a quick in transit, man. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakakodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, which you well, and salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim, Tazadakim, that do this thing in the most truth and sincerity. Shalom.